Co-founder of American Made Foundation, Maureen Steele, about a line in the sand that's being drawn to try to protect our kids in the fight against rogue agencies. Good morning, Maureen.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. So let's just dig into it, shall we?
Sure.
First, let's plug the film, The State-Sanctioned Kidnapping. It's happening right under our noses. So where do people go to watch this film?
We have our premiere on Sunday, September 7th in Boston, just outside of Boston in Dedham at the Legacy Theater. So that's the premiere of the Taken state-sanctioned kidnapping. There's a VIP reception prior to the airing of the film where you can meet the Rivera family, who is the center of the film, us, the producers, Ann Vandersteel, Chris Tribble, and the lawyers that are involved in the case, along with the case that American Made Action is bringing against the CPS and the judge in this case, and that'll be filed within the week. So, anyone can come and ask questions and all of that.
Okay, so no matter what, there's going to be a dark underbelly of an agency that is this big. I mean, there just is, but we've got to find a way to not only expose but stop them.
100%, and that's our goal, is to abolish CPS. And we're going to go state by state. We're starting with Massachusetts. We have cases literally in every state in the country where children are just being taken with no due process, based on hearsay, a neighbor calling, saying, because they're mad you moved your fence. And any accusation anyone makes, they just come in, grab your kids, and ask questions later. And you don't get your kids back for a year if you're lucky. You never see them again if you're unlucky. This is one of the darkest agencies out there. What makes it worse is there's no transparency at all. They work under cover of darkness. Everything is sealed because, it's minors. So the malfeasance that's going on in that agency and the parasitic organizations that they work with, county mental health centers, child visitation centers, parenting classes, anger management classes, all that feed off of that, none of them are incentivized to reunite you with your child. The incentive comes from, you have to pay them, the state pays them, the feds pay them. They're making this is an $80 billion a year industry, and they are doing it every single day. These judges in these family courts are nothing but criminals in black robes. They are rubber stamping whatever CPS tells them. They don't ask how CPS came to their conclusions, nothing. If CPS were taking the kids, rubber stamp it. And then police officers just go right along with it too. No one's there to protect parents' rights. Your parental rights are unalienable rights. And you cannot be stripped of an unalienable right without darn good reason, and they don't have any. So this is what we're after, and this case of the Rivera family is so heartbreaking. It's been 7 months. These were homeschooled children, 5 of them. Parents both worked from home, all organic food, beautiful family. Their life was absolutely destroyed because they refused a vitamin K shot at a 9-month-old well child visit. And a Tehran, Iran trained pediatrician reported them for neglect. They refused it in the hospital when the baby was born. Everyone knows you get the vitamin K shot. They tell you your baby will bleed to death. That's a lie. And the child had no blood clotting disorder. The children were all healthy. They'd all been to well child visits. None of them had been vaccinated. And CPS opened up a case saying these parents were neglectful. That's not neglect. They have a right. You have a right to decide what medical care your child is going to get. So they accused the parents when the parents moved away. We all have rights of freedom of movement here in the United States. They put out an APB, lied to the state of Texas, said they had custody of these kids, called it familial kidnapping. And this family, the children had to watch their parents with 10 cops around them at gunpoint, arrest their parents. The children were flown back to Massachusetts from Texas. The parents were jailed for 30 days at $2.5 million bail each. That's astonishing. There's rapists and murderers that don't get bail that high for no crime at all. There was no crime. They were accused of familial kidnapping with no evidence of that, and Texas had no evidence of that. After 30 days, they were extradited back to Massachusetts. Mother got $7,500 bail. It dropped from $2.5 million down to $7,500, and the father for $25,000, which makes no sense in that they're both charged with familial kidnapping by a state that never had custody of those kids. So this whole thing it's a crime syndicate, it's a crime ring, and we're going to break it up, and it needs to happen. Parents need to see this film. You will be able to see it. Download it off of our site, AmericanMadeFoundation.org, in a couple months after we've done our premiere and red carpet events throughout the country. But every parent should watch this, every grandparent, because it just takes a bitter ex, a neighbor that you've angered, a teacher who doesn't like your child, and they step in, and the kids are absolutely gone. And when you get them back, if you get them back, these children are not the same. They've been traumatized. 85% of children in foster care are physically or sexually abused. 85% of children in foster care are on heavy-duty pharmaceuticals. The children are obviously upset because they had good families, and so they just drug the kids to keep them quiet and keep them compliant. So this is the system we're dealing with. And by the way, everyone, it's funded with your tax dollars.
Okay, so, I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is not the case for every single case, because I know people who have hotlined and some children were found in deplorable conditions and they were taken from the home. So you can't just broad stroke this. Also, police are doing their job. If they're told to go take the kids, they're not judge and jury. They're just doing their job. So I don't like that that's been broad stroked, but I believe that what has happened to this family is absolutely ridiculous. A law just passed in Florida that you don't even have to immunize your kids. I think that's a little bit crazy, but you do have a religious right, and the First Amendment allows you to religiously say, I don't want this in my body. Same with COVID shots.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
There's no reason to take someone's kids for that. That's ridiculous.
Right. But in your comment about the police officers swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, which means protecting your rights. So they shouldn't be rubber stamping whatever CPS tells them. They should be looking for the paperwork that a judge, that there was a judge that awarded custody.
They barely have enough cops to give out
now
tickets.
They're going to have to make time for some serious lawsuits because they're violating people's rights and helping to kidnap children along with CPS. So they need to be made aware of that. So it's very important that everyone get educated on this subject. Also, last year, on July 29th, 2024, the Supreme Court overturned the Chevron deference, basically saying that agencies cannot make law, they can't interpret law, and judges can no longer rubber stamp, or police officers rubber stamp what CPS says. They need to go through the whole process and find out how they investigated and all of that, and these judges are not doing it.
Yeah. There's a lot of revenge red flag calling going on, too. You are correct, because I know people who get mad at somebody, and they'll call the DFS hotline or CP, whatever hotline, and report the family, and then they come in and they interview the kids separately, and they try to get them to say this, that, or the other thing, or are you in this or that? But most of the times, those kids do not get taken because there's proof that nothing bad or nefarious is going on in that home. So for them to have done this to this family over a vitamin K shot is quite frankly communism.
It is. It is.
That's
and
scary.
in the foster care program in the United States of America, according to Mike Pompeo in his missing person and trafficking report in 2019, the foster care program is the number one supplier of children into the sex trafficking industry. And of course, the United States of America is the number one consumer of it. So this is a very nefarious organization between the courts, CPS, police officers, sheriffs, and what's going on. And we've got the receipts, and that'll be coming out soon. We also have a book coming out called The CPS Pipeline, State-Sanctioned Kidnapping. That'll be out in 8 weeks.
Okay. So with all this happening and going on across the nation, how has it gone on so long and nobody's done anything?
Well, it's ignored. It's interesting. You know, Mike Pompeo brought it to the president's attention in 2019, and no one in Washington is looking into it. You know, it's an $80 billion a year industry, so that there's a lot of money, and I think we saw that with what Doge did. You know, I mean, people's homes are getting stolen. There's so many things that are going on, and everyone's turning a blind eye because everyone's getting greased. Unfortunately, we have a corporatocracy these days where, you know, big pharma's donating money, you know, big tech, and, you know, you're getting millions of dollars. If you look at people in the Senate and the Congress, they make $180,000 a year, yet if 4 years later they get $20 million in the bank. How does that happen?
Yeah,
It doesn't happen for the rest of us.
Yeah.
They're all on the take. We have a very corrupt government, and that's just the sad state of it. And, you know, and our children are the most vulnerable, and we need to protect them. And so we need to expose these agencies. We need to come with the receipts, and we need to educate people on how to protect their children.
Okay, now you keep saying come with receipts. What do you mean by that? Proof?
Proof that they're getting money, proof that they're on the take, proof of, you know, the people being paid off, judges being paid off, officers being paid off, sheriffs being paid off.
Anybody who's doing that should be automatically taken to prison.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't name one police officer here I think would do that here locally. I can't name one because I know most of them. But I guess in bigger cities or in other parts of the world, there's always that one bad apple. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
So you have, how many cases do you have receipts for?
Dozens of cases
My goodness.
throughout the country. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you say they're selling these kids off into child sex rings or to pedophiles or whatever the case may be, we never see them again? I mean, they're just gone?
There's over 1 million children missing in the United States of America as we speak right now.
That I know, but through CPS.
Right.
Through CPS.
Through the foster care system, which is through, you know, which CPS utilizes to place children after they take them. So these children are going from the fire to the frying pan. When you have a rate of 85% of children abused in foster care and you're taking them out of a quote-unquote abusive family, that's not saving these kids. So 15% of foster homes are decent, you know, but we have the rest of them that aren't. And so we need a better system. This system needs to go away. You know, just in Massachusetts alone, Massachusetts is not a very big state. There's 10,000 children in the state of Massachusetts that CPS has quote-unquote custody of. A friend of mine who's an excellent researcher, his name is Ron Bouchard, he has an organization called We the People Too. He's done extensive research on this in his state. 39 out of those 10,000 kids were taken legally, lawfully, and for just cause. That's astonishing. That's not even a 1% success rate. It's a 0.001% success rate. So that's bad by anyone's standards. And again, police officers were involved in all of those. So that's not good. You know, this isn't a good rate for Massachusetts at all, and it doesn't bode well for CPS or DCYF. They use different acronyms in every state, but that's the facts. This is one of the most corrupt agencies in the country.
Well, it's shocking to me because I went through foster parent training and we were trained very well of what the do's and don'ts are, but I guess in some areas people don't care. And I know that a lot of the kids get abused because I did a series on some of the kids who were in foster care and they gave some pretty horrible stories. Some people are just in it for the money. Some people don't care about the kids at all. But there are good ones too. So we want to make sure that's understood. But how can they take kids out of a home with no proof? How can they do that?
Because the judges are in on it as well. So judges just rubber stamp whatever CPS says. And you have to remember, most of these CPS workers, these caseworkers, are 22, 23-year-old girls out of college, fresh out of college with their, you know, social services degree or their psychology degree with no experience, and they're given a checklist of what to look for. And in some cases, we've heard that there's, you know, bonuses for children that are, you know, taken and placed. There's they get an extra $10,000 for children that they adopt out. Hillary Clinton wrote the Adoption and Safe Family Act in the 90s. Bill Clinton put it into law, and that's really when this whole system really went sideways. This is when they monetized children's heads. And whenever you monetize anything, as we've seen, that's when corruption comes in, and that's when the system got wildly corrupt.
Follow the money trail. So if
Exactly.
they want to see the American Made Foundation film Taken, where do they go? When can they get it?
You can go on our site. Yeah, you can go on our site, www.americanmadefoundation.org, and you can go there in a couple months to download it. You can watch it there. But now we're going to be going all over the country doing red carpet events, and our premiere is Sunday in Boston, September 7th at 6.
All right. Good luck, Maureen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.